Welcome to Azeroth After Bedtime. This is a channel dedicated to the millennial gamers out there that started playing WoW in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, and kind of want to relive that experience. So I started playing WoW in 2004. A friend of mine had a brother that worked at GameStop, and he got us beta codes to play WoW. And that was the first kind of experience that I had with WoW. I can't remember if I used his account or if he gave us a beta code. I don't remember, but I was logging into WoW. So my experience here and what we're about to do throughout these videos is not necessarily live the World of Warcraft experience as I first started, but really the experience of what what eventually became my main character. So as we're seeing right now, I'm creating, to the best of my memory, a character that I called Bango. Bango was a troll rogue, a bald-headed, green-skinned dude that played on, oddly enough, Bloodsail Buccaneers, the RP PvP server back in those early days. So that's the character that I've created, and I'm using him as sort of my muse to work through and remember kind of the beauty of WoW. I still play WoW to this day. I play him, I'm sorry, I play WoW, not that character, but I play WoW on retail. I play through midnight. I most recently played a level 1 paladin with my partner, and we leveled all the way up to level 80 in anticipation for midnight. And as I was playing WoW on retail, something that I've played, for 20 years, I was thinking, man, it'd be really cool to go back and kind of just experience what WoW was like. And that's why I've created this. So I started with Bango, the character that meant a lot to me, the character that I used and played for many, many years. And the fun thing here is, as I'm playing Bango in this video, I actually never really played him through the post-Cataclysm realm. I started Bango right before the Burning Crusade came out, and so a lot of this stuff is new to me. It's all kind of like a new experience, and this is probably my favorite part of starting this character. Is I talked to this guy, and then I realized, oh wait, there's glyphs, and I kind of forgot about glyphs. They were like kind of like a passing thing that existed in WoW. It showed up for a very small period of time. We experienced the glyph experience, and then it kind of disappeared. I remember, as playing a rogue, the only glyph that I actually really remember was the glyph that you attached to sprint, and you could run across water. And I thought that was a cool. I thought it was a cool glyph, but I don't really remember any of the other things. I just hit level 2, and that's awesome. So I'm kind of working through this. I never played this opening area in the Dark Spear Troll realm. I think at this time, if I remember correctly, I think Zul'jin, or I'm sorry, not Zul'jin, Vol'jin is the war chief of WoW. I love WoW, and I don't like dive too far into the lore of WoW. Some of the stuff is really cool. Like I know the big hitters, right? Like I know Vol'jin, I know Thrall, I know Sylvanas, I know all of the things that occur within the first few expansions. But this is like a fun experience for me to kind of go back and relive these elements. And so as I'm watching my gameplay here, which I record uncut. I record just like, hey, this is me playing WoW as I remember it and kind of uncovering these things as it occurs. I don't remember any of this. This is all new to me. I'm fighting these Najas, and I'm playing through the game, and I think it's a really fun experience for me, and hopefully for people that watch these videos and go, WoW has changed so much over the last 20 some years, over 20 years of WoW. I started playing WoW, like I said, in 2004. A friend of mine, his brother had a beta key, and we were logging in and playing. My first character was a paladin, a human paladin. And then I played a night elf, figure out the game, and I started to find new friends that were part of the WoW experience. That I dived into Bango, and I really understood what I was doing. So this is like a cool nostalgia trip for me, and for hopefully anybody that's watching this to kind of go, oh yeah, like I remember these things, or I don't remember this, which is kind of what's happening here, which is really fun for me. I've played vanilla WoW, and I played it on the classic server, which just the OG expansion, right? It's just the OG World of Warcraft, and I currently play retail. But this is a fun experience here because this is WoW Miss a Pandaria, which I never like started in the beginning. Like I played the monk. I'm sorry, the panda. Like I created a panda, and I didn't really play it a whole lot. But like this experience here, I think this is like post Cataclysm, like new realm. This is really fun for me to go back because this is a space that doesn't really exist in the World of Warcraft gameplay. It's hard to experience that. So as I'm like running around Darkspear Hold, like I don't remember this being a thing that existed when I played. And that's really fun. It's really fun for me to kind of go back, and for anybody watching to really go back and be like, holy cow, like I didn't play a troll, or I didn't play an early class. I'm sorry, an early race that started in a brand new realm. If you play WoW now, you start in, they have like a whole new starter zone. And it's all totally different. And this is just like a fun experience. Here I'm watching, oh gosh, what's that guy's name? The final raid boss in Siege of Orgrimmar, which I do remember playing. I raided that. And I think this is Vol'jin, right? I think he becomes the war chief. Like I said, the lore is like very like lost on me, kind of. So it's fun. It's really just like an experience to go back. I have these uncut versions on my channel where I'm just kind of, no commentary, no anything. I'm just experiencing the world as it is. Here I'm opening up my map, and that's cool too. Like I get to see like Echo Isles has become a thing. Before it was this place where you went as a troll or an orc, whatever you started, and you went to the Echo Isles, and it was all Zalazane was there, and it was all corrupted, and you had to like capture the skulls in a pile and fight those guys. But now it's like being re-inhabited by the Darkspear trolls, and that's a really cool experience to go back as a player and see how the world has changed. I do know that, or I remember at least, that Cataclysm is very much panned, I think, by players in general. And I did play Cataclysm, but like I said, I didn't start new characters in that world. So this world's different to me. And it's fun, It's really great to kind of go back and experience what that's like. So here I am, reaching level 4. Very confident in that. One of the things that's really fun for this experience of WoW for me and for anyone watching is like, I'm not doing this with a guide. I'm just going off of basically what I remember and kind of experiencing it new. I'm doing the starter zone, and I want to live through that and experience the starter zone. But then once I move to, I think I remember. I think Senjin Village is the next thing that I'll hit, and I'll work through Durotar, and I'm gonna go to the Barrens. I'm gonna experience that for what it is, and for that experience. But there's nobody that's telling me what to do, or nobody that's like guiding me along the way. I don't really care to do that. I have the retail experience, and I do play that. I have a max level character on retail. Midnight's only been out for a couple weeks now, and I'm working through the dungeons and the delves, which I really dig. I think they're really fun. Um, I have like I have like expectations of what I want to do in retail, but I don't belong to a guild. Like I'm not like a raider. Like this is a space for the casual gamer, and that's what I am. I'm a like I said, a millennial dad. I put the kids to bed, and I'm trying to experience WoW as best as I can remember it and do the things that are fun for me. As I'm watching this gameplay too, I'm watching me do the fun quests where I have to pick up all the little baby raptors, and like as weird as it sounds, like kill the corrupted raptors. But I'm like, no, I want to adopt the little tiny raptors. Like they're for me. Like come with me. Like these are fun. These are fun quests, and I think as we dig into WoW, like as we dig into these earlier things, we kind of have an appreciation for all of the really cool things that we love and appreciate about WoW. And this is right here. I'm about to do this quest that, I didn't experience back in the day, and I think that things that as I experience this new realm of WoW and this like understanding like kind of the classic space that exists and that weird space in between actually that I'm thinking about it like it's not quite classic and it's not retail, but it's like an expansion that I remember but I only ever played like the end game for, and so this is starting a new character in this beginning phase. So this is all new, so there's some quality of life enhancements to this space of playing this, early level build and early characters. The fun stuff like I'm about to go catch Swiftclaw, which is like kind of a weird quest. It's kind of like a fun quest, but it reminds me of like an end game quest, an end level, an upper level, a more refined quest that you would experience in some of the later content, and now we get to experience at level 4, level 5 in World of Warcraft, and that's really fun. That's really fun to go back and think like, oh, they've really made this onboarding experience for new players really fun, or they did make it really fun, in a way that we get to experience the OG kind of content in a new way. So I really, kind of dig and enjoy those elements of WoW. So and I think, this is a space where I kind of just talk over, and I hope that I resonate. I think that's the ultimate goal of this channel, is to kind of resonate with players that are like me, that are just under 40, just over 40, maybe 50, that started playing WoW, and we remember what it's like, and we want to go back and kind of experience the charm of that initial start. I think that's really fun. You can see I just hit level 5, so I was super excited about that because now I have stealth. I don't have any abilities for stealth. I don't get them, and that's a fun thing too to think about. Like the OG WoW, you would get these abilities and skills, but you couldn't really utilize them to their maximum potential. I go stealth, and I only have Sinister Strike. I don't have any other cool abilities. And I think part of the channel too is as I'm talking about being a rogue. Rogues are not played a whole lot in retail. I think they're a low population class. I think the original vanilla WoW had a huge influx of rogues. I think that there were tons of them because they were so freaking broken for PvP. PvP rogues were a pain. I know because I played one and it was really fun. But you could get stun locked as a rogue, and it is utterly frustrating. Even as a rogue, I wasn't a particularly good one, but I would play other rogues and I would get just totally smashed by those guys. And I think that as the game has been more and more balanced, I think rogues become less and less popular. I actually think that they're probably one of the least played classes. I could totally be wrong, but I don't really encounter a whole lot when I'm running dungeons, or even like, pug raids or LF, looking for group raids, whatever you call them, like looking for the raid finder. Not a whole high population. I think they're right now. I'm playing a sub rogue, a subtlety rogue, and like it's like a 3-button rotation, and I think it's like kind of boring and not as exciting, and everything else is more viable in a ton of other things. But vanilla WoW, it was ridiculous the number of rogues that you would face because they were everywhere and they could crush in PvP. Even Burning Crusade, the amount of rogues that were being played, and it slowly drops. So it's fun to go back as my OG rogue, as Bango, to dive into, as you can see right now, I'm playing classic rogue stuff. It's fun. I don't think that they get a whole lot of love, because they're not good, or there's better options. There's better melee DPS, or people like range DPS for their raids, or people just don't know how to play rogues. I've seen all the memes, especially back in the day. Rogues treat threat meters like DPS meters. Like, we've all seen those things. But I really liked my rogue, and my rogue was fun. I wanted to dive into him and bring him back and help me experience what I loved about WoW, and what I hope that other people love about WoW too. And so that's, the goal of this. And I think that there's a space to also appreciate, what led me to World of Warcraft. I was an EverQuest gamer. If anybody out there remembers what EverQuest was, I played EverQuest 1997. I had an old Intel Celeron processor that was our family computer that we bought at Costco, and it was, I mean, probably like 4 gigs of RAM. For I don't even like, not even gigs, like megabytes, like 4 megabytes of RAM. I don't even know. It was god awful. It was horrible. And I used to fight with my sisters. I have 2 older sisters, and I used to fight with them about who would get to use the computer, and they would have to do schoolwork, and I'm like, I have to level my ranger. Like, you don't understand. Syndril the ranger needs to level up tonight. So I was playing EverQuest, and I just fell in love with these role-playing games. I played Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition with my best friend, and it was just me and him would play D&D, and then we found EverQuest, and then we kind of migrated into WoW. And early WoW was like those harder MMORPGs with a little bit of like a softer corner. OG EverQuest was rough. You died, you had to go find your corpse, and then it would decay if you didn't find it. So if you died and you couldn't find your corpse, that's it. That's the game. WoW offered some space for, I don't want to say like open up entirely to the casual gamer, because I think OG WoW, I think it was pretty rough. Like you were dying often, and you were trying to find ways to survive. It was an EverQuest level of difficulty, but it was certainly like not what it is today. And that was a beautiful part of the OG WoW, that I really want to just explore. I'm looking at my character now. I'm looking at Bango now, and he's working through kind of like the end game, end level quest for Echo Isles. And this is some cool things that were added later that I absolutely and fully appreciate. Back in the day, like I said, I think Zalazane was the boss. Like, you had to clear out the area of trolls, and you had to fight like the troll voodoo witch doctor. And he was challenging. But now you have like a real experience. Like, you've got a skull level character, an elite that you're trying to fight, and it's kind of teaching you the ropes of WoW. And I think that these are some of the really cool elements that they've incorporated into WoW that help new gamers learn and figure out how to play the game. I will admit that like there's zero sense of threat or risk. I don't think you could probably die in this combat, but it's really more teaching you the mechanics of how the game kind of functions and flows. Zargira, the Sea Witch, she's not gonna kill you. As long as you're fighting and fending off the ads, and it's teaching you some of the skills to kind of work through. I think that's a fun element that they've incorporated later and added, and I think that I really dig that part of kind of how WoW functions in this capacity. But even like looking at my character, like I've only got 2 skills. I've only got my Sinister Strike. I've only got my Eviscerate. I don't really have anything to kind of work and function, but I'm figuring out the game, and that's really cool. And it's really fun to kind of go back and experience that. I know I've mentioned retail WoW quite a few times, but I think one of the things with retail is, with all of the updates and all the ways that the games change, I didn't play the War Within a whole lot. So when I dived into Midnight, or like pre-patch Midnight, just before it's starting, my talent tree and my classes are all like totally changed and totally different. And how do I experience that as like an authentic gamer to understand like what my character's doing? And that's like a challenge. That's an experience that I'm just kind of like pulling up guides and trying to figure out how to play this particular character. And I think one of the goals with this channel and with this character of Bango is experiencing WoW from its like nascent stages, its early understandings of the character, and working my way through. I do know that Miss Pandaria certainly revamped a lot of things. I remember that, and I know, actually don't know, but I'm pretty sure that the talent trees in Cataclysm got totally changed to be like these weird, like 3 talents every 10 levels or something like that. One of my goals here with Bango is to not look up any guides or not look up anything about how the game plays, and just try and remember everything as best as I can. But I am like 90% sure that the talent tree is not the talent tree that I remember. I do think I'm a little bummed about that. I think that it's going to like lower the kind of skill cap and the exploration of my experience. I could be wrong. I could totally be wrong. Maybe that came later, or it came earlier. Like I said, I don't really remember. But I know that like at some point in WoW, and I plan on taking Bango on this journey kind of as long as I can. I do know at some point in this journey I'm going to experience like a totally watered down skill tree, which is not something I used to. And not something I shouldn't say used to, but it's not something that I really want. And I'm experiencing this WoW, and I'm kind of giving these like kind of off the cuff narratives of what I'm thinking as I'm watching the videos and kind of experiencing it to anyone that's out there that's listening. Maybe one person, maybe 5 people. but just trying to give that unadulterated, unfiltered kind of feedback. There are things about WoW that I love, but I'm not going to hold back and say that there's everything about WoW is phenomenal. Because the reality is, like, it has changed immensely, and there will always be things that you like or dislike about a particular game that you play. So I'm going into this knowing or thinking or trying to remember that at some point things I dislike. Um, Even right now, I'm watching Bango kind of run through the water and just fought that guy. And I think that the combo point system, I thought that it was, by the time we played Miss Pandaria, I thought that the combo system was updated, that I could carry my combo points to different enemies. But that hasn't happened yet. Um, I'm thinking that I'm going to run Bango as a combat rogue. I think that's what I want to do because that's the rogue that I'm most familiar with, at least in early WoW. I eventually played Assassin Rogue. I'm currently playing a sub rogue, but it wasn't until much later in my WoW experience that I changed the spec. I usually always run combat, so I'll probably do that again and try and remember what that was like. Um, so I'm on my way to Senjin. This is kind of ending the video, but as I was working my way there, I remember the little fishing hut that existed. And this is really cool. So I was just like, you know what? Like, whatever, dude. I'm gonna fish for a little bit. And these are things that I never did in the OG WoW. Like I didn't. I was an herbalist and a skinner only because I wanted to gain gold so I could buy my mount. Um, but here I'm gonna try and fish. And I think that I kind of edit this out so we don't watch me, but I build my skill talent all the way up to level 10 so I can get other fishing abilities. But this is what I want to do. Like, I just want to, like, experience WoW. And I've said earlier in the video, like, I'm on a very low population server. I'm on Bloodsail Buccaneers. I am on the RP server of the Miss Pandaria experience, and I can't imagine that there's like thousands of people on these servers. I would be willing to bet that, like, I think in the next video, actually, as I finish this edit, I'm gonna go log in for Bango for another hour or two, and I'm gonna play a little bit. I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna like type a /who, and there's not gonna be anybody on the server. But that's cool. Like, I'm cool with that. If I get to run one dungeon between now and level 90, that would be awesome. That would be really fun. I just want to experience it, and I just want, like, to see the world, see what's going on in WoW, as other people had remembered it, and as I'm trying to kind of remember the game and the characters and just everything. I think that's the ultimate major goal of this channel and of this experience. So I'm working here now. I'm buying up my armor, not my armor, my fishing pole. I'm working through this. And I think that this kind of closes out my gameplay. I work my way to Senjin Village, and here I swore that there was a like an inn that I could get rest experience. So I kind of run around and I try and figure out where I'm going, what I'm doing. Is there anyone that's available to kind of rest? I think that there is. I think I'm just missing it. But this was it. This was my first kind of experience, my first hour back into WoW. And I really appreciated the journey. So thank you all for joining me. I hope that you come back around for the second, third, fourth, and who knows how many more videos. And we travel and we explore and we see WoW through the eyes of Bango, through the eyes of the nostalgic millennial gamer that loves WoW, appreciates WoW, and is willing to kind of go back and see what that experience is like. So thank you all, and this should kind of conclude our last experience. Or I'm sorry, not our last. This will conclude our first experience into the World of Warcraft.